So welcome to my video today. So if you have previously watched my videos, then you might notice that I have darker hair right now. And that is because I dyed it. And even if you don't watch my videos, you might be thinking, why is she making a video on how to dye your hair blonde if she has dark hair? And the reason for that is because I had blonde in my hair and I recently dyed it like two or 3 days ago. Before I dyed it, I made a video on how to get blonde in your hair, and I was going back and editing that video and it was horrible. I don't know what was wrong with me. I think I just wasn't feeling good, and I don't know, I was so like out of it that my video was so boring. So I was like, you know what, I can't post this. I need to go back and record it and do it all over again. But I had already dyed my hair. So yeah, so I'm going to try to insert a picture to help you see the blonde that I had in my hair, because this doesn't do any good for you. But anyways, I'm going to go through the steps that I did to get blonde in my hair. I did have like a few blonde strips. I originally started out with 2 blonde strips. I had 2 right here and then 2 like back here. And then later on I decided that I wanted to go for the whole ombre trend, and so I dyed my ends blonde. And yeah, so if you want blonde in your hair, then continue watching and I'll show you guys the steps. Okay, so you're definitely going to need bleach or some kind of lightener for your hair. There's really no other way to do it than to use bleach. And I've learned that the hard way. I thought for some reason that, I can still get my dark hair to go blonde if I used a blonde hair dye, but no, that wasn't the case. I found out that you need bleach. No matter what, you're going to use bleach. So the one that I used, by the way, all of the products that I use to get blonde in my hair are from Sally's. So you can find everything from Sally's except for one thing, but I'll get to that later. Okay, so the bleach that I used is from this brand called Ion Color Brilliance, and it is a powder lightener. And this is what the packaging looks like. Basically, this is what's going to bleach your hair. And what's cool about this is that it has, I believe, it has gardenia oil and coconut oil. So even though bleach is bad for your hair, at the same time it's kind of helping to moisturize your hair in some way. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, so you're going to pour some of this. The amount that you plan on using depends on the amount that you're going to bleach your hair. So, if you're just going to do a few strips here and there, then you're not really going to need a lot. But if you plan on doing like your whole hair, obviously you're going to need a lot more. So just I would just eyeball it, and I would just eyeball it, and I put in the amount in the bowl. This bowl you can also get from Sally's, and it's just easier to pour everything into a bowl. You don't, just make sure it's a bowl that you don't care if it gets stained or ruined or anything like that. And yeah, so I would just pour this, and then I would use it, and if I noticed that I needed more, then I would go back and pour in more. So yeah, so you pour some of this into the bowl, and then you're going to need a cream developer, and the one that I currently have is the one and only Argan Oil Hair Color Cream Developer. So basically, however much of the bleach that you poured into your bowl, you're going to pour the exact same amount of cream developer into your bowl, and you're going to mix it together. And I mix it in with a brush like this. And These are really inexpensive. They're only like $1, and it's cool because you can reuse them, and you can also reuse the bowl. So that is definitely a bargain deal. A bargain deal? Does that make sense? Whatever. So you mix it in, and just keep mixing, it until all the contents get well mixed in with each other. And then what I did from that point on is I put on some gloves. Ooh, these are wet. These are wet because they were on my sink. But yeah, you put on some gloves. These are cool too because they're also reusable. And they didn't even cost me that much. I can't remember how much they cost, but it wasn't expensive at all. And so you put on your gloves, and then you're going to get the amount of hair that you need. I definitely recommend doing it in sections, and I would recommend maybe like 1-inch sections. And it's really important that you make sure that the bleach gets to every strand. So what I did is I would get a strand, and so if you're planning on bleaching your hair from all the way up to the root, then you would simply gather the bleach onto this part right here, the brush, and then you would start at the root. Of course, you would have, all this. Of course, you would have all the rest of your hair pinned back so that it's easier to see what you're doing. And then you would just put it up on the root and then brush it through, and keep brushing it all the way to the end. And then with your gloves on, make sure you have your gloves on. What I did is, let me get up close so you guys can see. What I did is I would go like this throughout all the way to the end of the strand. And basically what that does is it makes sure that every strand in that section of hair is getting the bleach. So you want to make sure that you're getting every strand, because otherwise you're going to have, like, I don't know the word, like, you're going to have chunks of lighter hair color and then chunks of your normal hair color, and it's just going to look, it's not going to look nice, and it's going to look splotchy, and you want to do a good job. So make sure you're getting that bleach to every strand. And then what I did from there is I got the I seriously cannot talk today. I don't know what is wrong with me. But anyways, so what I did from there is I got foil paper, and I got a section of foil paper, and then I put the foil paper, and then I put my strand of hair over the foil paper, and then all I did was I folded this piece over like this, and then I wrapped the foil paper around the hair. So just fold the foil paper around that section of hair. So I left that in. You're going to do however many sections you want of blonde in your hair, and you leave that in for about, I left mine in for about 45 minutes. I think the most you're supposed to leave it in is 50 minutes. It even says on the back of this, on the directions, you really want to be careful with bleach because you don't want to leave it on too long, because then, your hair might fall off, and I don't think you want that. That's not the whole point of this process. So just keep monitoring it. That's what I did. I would wait a few minutes, and then I would undo the foil paper, and I would check on my hair, and I would see, is this how light I want it? And if it wasn't, then I left it on for a longer amount of time. And if it was how light I wanted it, then, I would just take off the foil paper and then rinse out the bleach. So until you get it to the point that you want it, don't leave it on too long. But until you get to that point of however light you want it, then you're just going to rinse it out. And then from that point on, if you notice that your hair looks a little bit orangey or brassy, which happens a lot, especially if you have darker hair, and so what you're going to need to do for that, to take those undertones out, is to use a toner. Now there's two things that you can do to get that brassiness out. The first thing that you can do, and this process does take a while, but it does work, you can just use a purple shampoo. This one is from John Frieda. It is the Sheer Blonde Color Renew Tone Correcting Shampoo. So you can use this. This is the only product in my video that you cannot get at Sally's. You can actually get this at Target or any other drugstore. So yeah, what this does is it neutralizes brassiness. So it literally is a purple shampoo, if you guys can see. And what it does is it's going to neutralize those orange undertones that are left in your hair after you bleach it. The only thing though is that it does take a while. It took about like 3 or 4 uses of this for me to notice a difference, because once in a while my ends would look like the blonde parts in my hair would look a little bit orangey, and so I started using this, and it took about 3 or 4 times of using it until I finally noticed a difference. So this one is a slow process, but if you want to speed up that process, then I would recommend using this. And this is, okay, this is the Wella Permanent Liquid Hair Color, and it's an additive, and this is in the shade Cooling Violet, and this is what the little bottle looks like. Okay, so what you're going to do for this is you're going to do kind of like the same process that you did when you were bleaching your hair. So you're going to pour an amount into your bowl, and then you're going to pour the same amount of cream developer into the bowl as well, and then you're just going to mix it, and you're going to notice that it's a purple color. And so you're just going to need a little tiny bit. So then you're going to put it on that strand. So once again, let's go to, so let's pretend that this is my strand. Okay, so let's pretend that this is my strand, and you're just going to put it on, and you're going to do the same thing that you did with the bleach. So go through it with your fingers like this, all the way down to the tip, and you're going to have to be careful with this toner because it works really, really quick. So you don't want to leave it on too long, because otherwise your hair is going to turn gray. And trust me, that's happened to me before. Like, thank God it was only one strand, and it wasn't even that much of a difference. Like, it wasn't even that noticeable, but I was like, oh my gosh, I was kind of freaking out. So just be careful. Don't let that scare you though. You seriously only need to leave it in your hair for about like 10 seconds. That's all it needs, and then it'll take out that brassiness, and your hair will look a lot nicer, and it will look a lot more blonde. So yeah, just be careful with it, but don't be afraid of it. Like I said, you only need it in your hair for 10 seconds, and if you want it to be, you know, if you want to break the process down so you're not so nervous about it, then just, you know, take it slow. Leave it in your hair for 5 seconds and then see how it comes out, and then put it in again for another 5 seconds. There's nothing wrong with that. So then once you're done with that, you're just going to, you know, rinse it out, and then you're pretty much all done. So yeah, and then that's it, and you're basically done. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all soon, and have fun dyeing your hair blonde. Bye!